Hello everybody, welcome to Also Rusty Buckets. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a like on this video. I am trying to hit 100k subscribers on this channel by the end of the year, so your subscription would be much appreciated. Also drop a like, it only takes 1 second and makes a massive difference in how the video performs in the YouTube algorithm. So there was a trade report rumor that was released recently, but it turned out that that source ended up being Bill Simmons, who suggested that the Lakers would be looking to shop Anthony Davis. Really what he said was, from what people told me on Twitter, I don't know for sure, what he really said was just it wouldn't be a bad idea, and then it got reported like he had some inside scoop. So I do want to make it clear right out of the gate that this video is not based on some report that like confirms that the Lakers are shopping Anthony Davis. Rather, this ended up sparking a conversation. While we acknowledge that it wasn't necessarily going to happen, it was worth discussing, so that's exactly what I'm going to do in this video. Not that it can't happen, but just that, you know, it's not something that's officially a thing. But a lot of people discuss the prospect of trading Anthony Davis and what that would look like for the Lakers. And the first thing I gotta say is if you're trading Anthony Davis, you probably might as well trade LeBron James, because regardless of whatever assets you get back for AD, the odds are not high that it's going to end up being better than Davis, unless you want to just simply make the argument that they could trade for players that will be present every game rather than someone who over the last 2 years has played less than half of the games of the season. So first things first, that's my main conflict with the idea of trading AD. Is if you're trading AD, you're trading LeBron. At that point, you're basically blowing it up. The other source of conflict I have with this notion is that it seems like there's so much, the perspective is just that this is done. Like, there's no world where LeBron and Anthony Davis at your core can still win you a championship. Now, I will say I'm a lot more hesitant in that now than I have ever been before, especially since LeBron James has really opened this season poorly, although I'm positive his shooting is going to turn around to some extent or another. But if LeBron James is no longer a top 10 player, Anthony Davis is not a top 10 player, really you're not even dealing with a superstar-led duo anymore. You're leading with two former superstars who have not been the same in Anthony Davis' case in years, since 2020, and in LeBron's case, he has definitely taken a little bit of a dip. So I understand the hesitance to be like, my original argument was just wait until Russell Westbrook's gone. Use your cap space to put good role players around the team and then have good role players plus LeBron and AD. And I understand that LeBron will be damn near 40 at that point, but I think that's a team that could win a championship. Not that they'd be my title favorite, but they would be in the running, and at the very least, they'd be a good basketball team again. That vision is again becoming less and less likely to actually transpire, so maybe the Lakers don't want to wait this out and they just say, fuck it, we're resetting. Clearly this is not going to turn into anything. Again, with LeBron's age, AD is almost 30 at this point. I just released a main channel video talking about how he has not lived up anywhere close to the expectations that he was given heading to the Los Angeles Lakers. The dude went from getting compared to Tim Duncan to like not even a top 15 player or bordering on that. So I get the idea of trading Anthony Davis, and I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad idea, but I do think there were a few too many people who put it out there as though that would really just be the only smart option at this point. I still think there is a world where a team built around LeBron and AD can still be pretty good. Not a championship favorite, but potentially a championship level team, and at the very least a really good one. And, you know, you're at least selling tickets and not being the laughing stock of the league anymore. And I do want to say, in the case of Russell Westbrook, he has been fantastic as a sixth man, and that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit later this week, because I'm pre-recording a bunch of videos to give myself time to work on a very big project, which will be coming out in December. But overall, Russell Westbrook is still a problem, and not necessarily just for his play, but for the fact that he's taking up $45 million fucking dollars in cap space. And having that room and having an offseason actually sign some people, that would make the Lakers better off, even if Russ as a sixth man seems to be turning things around and might actually give himself some sustainability in the NBA. Again, topic for another video. But okay, those are my thoughts on the idea of trading Anthony Davis. Now let's actually talk about what his trade value is and what the trades might look like. Now, to be clear, if this is a main channel video, I would have actually prepped some trades for you. But what really became the topic of conversation once we were all talking about AD and the potential of trading him was, what exactly is Anthony Davis worth at this point? Because if we're looking at him from a pure basketball talent perspective, again, he's probably somewhere in the top 15. He's not in the top 10, but after 10, he's probably somewhere in that conversation. With that being the case, you would think he'd be some pretty damn valued asset. But at the same time, again, Anthony Davis isn't young anymore. He is no longer a young player. We've still been talking about Anthony Davis like, what's his potential like? He's almost 30. We know what his potential is. It's what he was in the past. Maybe he can go back to that, but at the very least, it appears as though we have seen Anthony Davis at his absolute peak. So there's that factor. The second factor is that, well, super duper injury prone. Last 2 years averages like 35 games a season. This year has already missed a couple of games, although it's definitely been a better start than normal for him health-wise. Even though he still falls down and looks like he's injured every single fucking game to the point that it's actually absurd. But with his injury concerns, there's going to be the argument of, like, let's say, for example, a big thing that was thrown around was the Chicago Bulls, which makes sense. Chicago's his hometown, and they're poised to make some kind of move because right now they're sitting in the dreadful mediocrity of the middle class of the NBA. And something like AD playing like a superstar again and playing a lot of games, that could be a way for the Bulls to break from the mold. And he's obviously better than Nikola Vucevic. But let's say if the trade was Nikola Vucevic, Patrick Williams, Daniel Terry, I think his first name's Daniel, and then like Alex Caruso. Am I going to trade like 70 games of Alex Caruso, 70 games of Nikola Vucevic, 70 games of Patrick Williams for 30 games of Anthony Davis? Like, I get that Anthony Davis is a better basketball player than all of those guys combined. But does he contribute more in 30 games than 3 players do in 70? I don't know if that's quite the case. So that's the conflict that a lot of front offices are going to be having when it comes to trading for Anthony Davis. And it's ultimately going to result in his trade value not being nearly as high as the actual talent that teams are trading for. And that's another thing for the Lakers to consider. If they're trading AD, is they're almost certainly not getting anything of his value. Like, for sure you're not getting a player nearly as good as Anthony Davis unless it's like a Lauri Markkanen situation. It's like, whoa, that guy's actually way better than we thought when we traded for him. Obviously, he would have to be better than Lauri Markkanen in that case. But, like, you know, Nikola Vucevic returning to Orlando Vuce for God knows why, just to spite me, I guess. Patrick Williams has been looking better of late, finally actually looking for his shot a little bit more. And a lot of people gave him too much shit for missing 1 rebound. Like, I realize it cost us the game, but, like, he was also the reason we were in that game in the first place because of how good a defense he played on Jason Tatum. Anyways, so there's that problem. Other trades to look around the league. I mean, a lot of teams have their center positions somewhat figured out, or their power forward positions somewhat figured out. That's another thing, is a lot of teams don't really want to play a traditional power forward, and that would really fundamentally change everything that they are doing. So I think it'd be a similar thing where if Anthony Davis was on the trade market, it would almost be like when Kevin Durant was on the trade market, which was like, the asking price is probably going to be too high for anyone to actually provide the trade that the Lakers are looking for, to the point where they might just not even do it. I would like to see Anthony Davis in Chicago, and then after that I would just simply have to pray that he's healthy. But I really don't know how much I want to play that game, to the point that I am a little conflicted on the idea, as nice as it would be to have someone as talented as AD on the team, because there's been no one as talented as AD on the team since, if you want to be generous, the last time Jimmy Butler was there, which I think AD, if healthy and is able to get his legs under him and play a decent stretch of time, probably better than 2015 Jimmy Butler. But 2015 Jimmy Butler was a damn good player, and he bordered on being a top 10 talent. But that was also a less talented league. Anyways, I'm rambling. Should the Lakers trade Anthony Davis? I have no idea. So glad to have helped you with that question with this video. All right, that's it. Goodbye.